Hello again everyone, this is Home Gun Maker once more, and I thought I would make a video talking again because it's been a while I haven't done it. So here there are all my guns of the West. Actually, the first one is not actually from the West, it's prior to that. It's a Flintlock pistol from the 18th century, but since it's an old gun, I thought it fits well with all my other guns. So I'm going to do a quick review of all of them, but this is gonna be a video because I asked you guys on the community section and you said yes, that I should do it, so here it is. So the first one I'm going to show you is my Flintlock pistol. As I said, it's not actually a gun from the West, it's prior to that. It was mainly featured in pirate movies, it was used mainly by pirates. It had lock here, which had a flint here. When you press the trigger, it would ignite a spark, which would then ignite and propel the black powder inside. This one's entirely made of cardboard. Even the lock is cardboard, and the iron looking color on all my guns I make using graphite powder. So the only thing in this gun that is not cardboard is the ramrod. This is a pencil, and the barrel is actually a PVC tube, but all other things are cardboard. Even the engravings are cardboard cut out with scissors. I didn't base it on any real model, I simply made it, so it's not based on any real Flintlock pistol, but it looks quite cool, and since it's an old gun, I thought it fits well with the collection. So the next gun, it's my Colt Walker, and the Colt Walker was one of the first revolving pistols from the Old West. Actually, the first one was the Colt Patterson, which I'm still going to make someday. I intend on making the supernatural version, and the Colt Patterson evolved into the Colt Walker, which at the time was the biggest gun. You can see it is actually quite big, and it was chambered in 44, and which was the highest caliber hand pistol ever had, and it would fire around 60 grains of black powder, which was quite a lot. And this one features a rotating cylinder, but it doesn't rotate automatically. I didn't make the ratchet or the locking bolt. It simply features a hammer and a trigger, a working hammer and trigger with two cocks. You have half cock and then full cock, and the loading lever actually works. I attached a small spring here, just like the real one, to hold the lever up. It is completely made of cardboard from shoe boxes, and the painting is done using graphite powder, and the grip is also cardboard. This pattern is actually the cardboard layers, which when you sand them it looks like this. I just applied a coat of varnish on it, so it looks actually like wood. Next one is my latest gun. It's my wooden Colt Navy. The name is actually Colt 1851 Navy, and as you know, it was made in 1851. Actually, after the Colt Walker, you had the Colt Dragoon, which was almost like the Colt Navy, but it had a round barrel, and it was, if I'm not mistaken, chambered in 44, but the Navy was chambered in 36. And this one is completely made out of wood. The painting is also done using graphite powder. It looks just like iron. This one is fully functional. It rotates the cylinder as you've seen in my latest video, and the loading lever works as well. As I said in my previous video, the idea was to make it shoot BBs, but the blast from the caps wasn't enough to propel the BBs, and I didn't try anything else because I'm afraid it might break or something, but it works. If you pull the hammer, the cylinder rotates, and you have a locking bolt there, which goes down and goes into the next slot. Also, the hand assembly here and the ratchet, they all work just perfectly. The screws, since as you've seen in my previous video, they are made of wood as well. They're not real screws. The only metal part in this gun are the springs. So my next gun is also a Colt Navy. It is a Papercraft model. It is the most difficult papercraft and most complex papercraft I've ever made. And it's worth mentioning that the Colt Navy is my favorite firearm of all time, and especially, in my opinion, the most beautiful looking gun ever designed. It's simply beautiful. And later I'm going to tell the story of how I developed my guns, like in which order and which one came first. That was wrong. Which one came first? This is my Remington new model army. It is from 1858, and it was the first cap and ball gun, the first percussion revolver I made. The only moving part is the cylinder, and the painting is also done using graphite powder, and the grips I applied a coat of transparent varnish, so it looks shinier. I actually experimented a lot on this one. It is filled with hot glue, so it's quite hard, and the grips are filled with super glue mixed with toilet paper. It becomes hard as rock as well. As I said, the only moving part is the cylinder. It rotates, but it features the yellow caps on it. It looks quite cool. It is a bit creased in some places, because it's papercraft, so even when I was making it, I kind of damaged it a little bit, but it looks cool. I like it. Then this is the first revolver I made. It was my first attempt on making a Colt single action army. It was actually a papercraft project which I adapted and did it on cardboard. It is actually simple. It doesn't have that many details, but at the time, since it was the first revolver I made, it looked quite cool. And it features a working hammer. I added a spring on it and a rotating cylinder, and that's about it. The loading lever, the ejection lever actually, it's quite rough. It doesn't look much like a real one. But as I said, it was my first revolver I ever made. It features a 7.5 inch barrel, and it's all cardboard. And this is by far my masterpiece and my favorite gun ever made. It's my ultra realistic Colt single action army. It is 100% cardboard and paper, but it is identical to a real one. And as I said, I'm so proud of it. It's my favorite gun. It's the one I enjoyed making the most. It features everything a real one does. A hammer with half cock, second half cock, and full cock. The cylinder rotates perfectly when you pull the hammer. It features the hand assembly with 2 dents, I believe that's how you call it. The ratchet and the locking bolt works just perfectly. It goes down and clicks in the next round. We have a loading gate, which works perfectly as well. Again, everything's made out of cardboard. You can check out the video of it to see the making process. The screws are also cardboard. There are no metal screws, and the ejection rod works just fine, just like a real one. I didn't make any cartridges for it, and I didn't add the the firing pin because I didn't want to. And the grips are also cardboard. They are made of loads of thin layers of cardboard and then sanded in this round shape so it looks like the wood fibers. And then I applied 3 layers of varnish, sanding each time so it looks shiny as glass. So this is my favorite creation so far. It looks just perfect and it works just perfectly fine. I love it. And as you all know, I'm simply in love with the Old West. I love Old West culture, Old West guns. And so everything started with this one. It was my first revolver. As I said, I searched for a project for a revolver. I found a simple Papercraft one and I adapted it to cardboard. The painting was done using black paint and then I applied silver paint on it with a cloth so it looked like this. Then I wanted to make a cap and ball revolver, so I searched and searched and I found the project for a Papercraft Remington model, so I made this one. It took me quite a while. Then I really wanted to make a Colt Navy, and the only project I found was this Papercraft. I had to pay $8 for it, but it was totally worth it. It looks just beautiful, and by the time it was my favorite creation, I still like it very much because it's beautiful. And as I said, Colt Navy is my favorite firearm. It looks just perfect. Then after I moved away to my hometown, now I'm living in my hometown again, I made, oh look, a spider. I made this flintlock completely by scratch. I actually looked up lots of pictures on the internet, but I just made it with cardboard, and this is done using varnish and brown ink, and I made this. Then I became in love with the Colt Walker, so I designed this Colt Walker. This time I designed the project myself. I looked up pictures on the internet and I drew it and I designed everything. It was made, as I said, on shoebox cardboard, so it's not as detailed as this one, but it already looks cool. And then after that I went and made the Colt Single Action Army. This one is done using cereal box and chocolate boxes or soap boxes or toothpaste boxes, so they're much thinner, so you can have a finer finishing process and more details, and it becomes as hard as wood. And then finally I made a wooden Colt Navy, which is my favorite gun. I think it's the 4th time I say it in this video, but you know that. And this one, it's identical, a real one, realistic. The painting was black paint with graphite powder. This is golden paint and this is red varnish. And so these are all my guns of the West, or my old guns, because the Flintlock wasn't actually from the Old West. So thank you very much. Sorry for the long video and sorry for my bad English. I'm Brazilian. Although I work as an English teacher, sometimes talking without a script, we mumble and jumble a little bit. But thank you for your patience and see you in my next video.